right. Oshio, welcome to the Red Road East. I'm your host, Fierce Truth Seeker. Yeah, so today is that big turkey day for a lot of y'all. Yeah, I know a lot of y'all at home eating that pig, that cranberry sauce, you know, stuffing, stuffing your guts, that turkey, and all that other stuff. More power to you. Anyway, peace to all who are in the chat. I'm gonna wait about 2 more minutes for a few more people to come in, and then we'll start. Okay, and y'all stay tuned. I'm gonna queue up a couple of articles. Okay, so we got 5 watching now. Hit that thumbs up button if you're in the house. Greatly appreciated. Okay, so be with y'all shortly. Okay. Hey, how's it going, cousin? Halima, peace and power. Yeah. Give me 1 second. Just pulling up some documents. Let's see here. Hold tight. So, how are y'all today? For me, it's just been a pretty easygoing day. Just been chilling. See, we got 7 watching now. Okay, hey, we got Firebird in the house. Native Voices, Turtle Island TV, our sister station, is in the house. Greetings, greetings. Oshio. Okay. Let's see here. Got 7. I'll wait. Well, really want so we have at least 10 coming in. That would be good. And if they don't come within 1 more minute, then we'll start anyway. Still got 7. All right. 30 more seconds. We'll wait. And in the meantime, while we're okay, we got 8. Okay. Hopefully 2 more pop in. And in the meantime, while we're waiting for at least 2 more to come in, I'm going to leave in the chat for those who are generous enough to leave a donation. I'm going to leave that information where you can leave a donation via Cash App or PayPal. No donation is too small. Okay. And let me queue up the document here. I'm going to share screen. Let's see. Okay, so uh, somebody dropped off. Okay, they came back in. All right, we got eight. Well, we got nine. Okay, that's good. All right, I wanted 10, but it's all right. We'll go with the nine because we said that eight. Somebody dropped off. It is what it is. I said 2 more minutes, so 2 more minutes is up, and that's what it'll be. All right. So what I want to do for this presentation is go into this holiday that we call Thanksgiving, okay, and talk about some of the deeper roots of Thanksgiving, okay, and give you some information that some of you may have heard already. And, for those who really study, they will know this information. And for a lot of you, most of you, it'll be new information. Okay. So, what I'm going to share now. Oh, well, before I do that. So, around this time, even before these settlers came here, indigenous peoples, we always had our own type of Thanksgiving. Okay. The observing the harvest. Okay. When the seasons change, we have a celebration for the harvests during those different changes of the seasons. The summer, the winter, summer, the fall, the winter, the spring, you know, and those traditions vary from tribe to tribe. Okay. So they didn't really introduce anything new to us. Okay. But what I want to talk about is the celebration as we know it today, the significance of the dates and the significance of some of the observances, okay, and symbolism, okay? So, what I'll do is I'll work my way backwards, okay? So, I want to first share, let's see here, make this big. Let me see, is this easy enough to see on the screen? Let's see. Okay, so this particular article is coming from Indian Country Today. Okay, the Wampanoag side of the first Thanksgiving story. Okay, it says here the story of the first Thanksgiving is often told only from the pilgrim's perspective, but what about the Wampanoag view of the feast? Okay, so it says too often the story of the 1621 Thanksgiving is told from the pilgrim's point of view. And when the Wampanoag who partook in this feast too are included, it is usually in a brief or distorted way. In search of the Native American perspective, we look to Plymouth, where the official first Thanksgiving took place and where today the Wampanoag side of the story can be found. Plymouth Plantation is one of Plymouth's top attractions and probably the place to go to for I'm sorry, and probably the place to go for the first Thanksgiving story. It is a living museum with its replica 17th century Wampanoag home style, a representation of the home site used by Hobomok, who served as emissary between the Wampanoag and the Pilgrims, and staffed by 23 Native Americans, mostly Wampanoag, 17th century English village, and the Mayflower, 2, a replica of the ship that brought the Pilgrims to Plymouth. According to a Plymouth plantation timeline, the Mayflower arrived at Plymouth Harbor on December 16th, 1620. Now, before I read any further, how is my audio? Let me know if the audio is good, because I want to make sure that you all are getting this and that the quality is okay. Can anybody in the chat give me some feedback? Let me know if the audio is okay. Anyone can just give a thumbs up, or it doesn't have to be anything long or complicated. How's the audio? I got 10 people watching. Just let me know if the audio is okay. Can you hear me at all? Can y'all hear me? It's, it's clear. So, okay. Halima says it's clear, but it's lagging. Okay, let me. What can I do? Okay, how about now? Okay, AP Junior says good. Anybody else? How's my audio? Is my audio fine? I just want to know before I go forward, because I don't want to sounds okay. All right, so somebody says sounds great. Okay, good. All right, so the Pilgrims settled in an area that was once Pawtucket, a Wampanoag village abandoned 4 years prior after a deadly outbreak of a plague brought by European traders who first appeared in the area in 1616. The museum's literature tells that before 1616, the Wampanoag numbered 50,000 to 100,000, occupying 69 villages scattered throughout southeastern Massachusetts and eastern Rhode Island. The plague, however, killed thousands, up to two-thirds of them. Many also had been captured and sold as slaves. And yet, when the Wampanoag watched the Mayflower's passengers come ashore at Pawtucket, they did not see them as a threat. The Wampanoag had seen many ships before, explained Tim Turner, Cherokee, manager of Plymouth Plantation's Wampanoag home site and co-owner of Native Plymouth Tours. They had seen traders and fishermen, but they had not seen women and children before. In the Wampanoag ways, they never would have brought their women and children into harm. So they saw them as a peaceful people for that reason. But they did not greet them right away either. The English, in fact, did not see the Wampanoag that first winter at all, according to Turner. They saw shadows, he said. Samoset, a Mohegan from Maine, came to the village on March 16th, 1621. The next day he returned with Tesquantum, or Squanto, a Wampanoag who befriended and helped the English that spring. showing them how to plant corn, fish, and gather berries and nuts. That March, the Pilgrims entered into a treaty of mutual protection with Osamakin or Massasoit, the Pokanoket Wampanoag leader. Turner said that Turner said what most people do not know about the first Thanksgiving is that the Wampanoag and Pilgrims did not sit down for a big turkey dinner, and it was not on. I'm sorry, and it was not an event that the Wampanoag knew about or were even invited to in advance. In September, October 1621, the Pilgrims had just harvested their first crops and they had a good yield. They sent 4 men on fowling, which comes from the one paragraph account by Pilgrim Edward Winslow, one of only two historical sources of this famous harvest feast. Winslow also stated, "We exercised our arms." Most historians believe what happened was Massasoit got word that there was a tremendous amount of gunfire coming from the Pilgrim village, Turner said. So he thought they were being attacked and he was going to bear aid. When the Wampanoag showed up, they were invited to join the Pilgrims in their feast, but there was not enough food to feed the chief and his 90 warriors. He, Massasoit, sends his men out and they bring back 5 deer, which they present to the chief of the English town, William Bradford. So there is this whole ceremonial gift giving as well. When you give it as a gift, it is more than just food, said Kathleen Wall, a colonial foodways culinarian at Plymouth Plantation. The harvest feast lasted for 3 days. What did they eat? Venison, of course. And Wall said, not just a lovely roasted joint of venison, but all the parts of the deer were on the table in who knows how many sorts of ways. Was there turkey? Fowl is mentioned in Winslow's account, which puts turkey on Wall's list of possibilities. She also said there probably would have been a variety of seafood and waterfowl, along with maize bread, pumpkin, and other squashes. It was nothing at all like a modern Thanksgiving, she said. While today Thanksgiving is one of our nation's favorite holidays, it is a far different meaning for many Wampanoag who now number between 4,000 and 5,000. Turner said for the most part, Thanksgiving itself is a day of mourning for Native people, not just Wampanoag. At a noon, at noon every Thanksgiving Day, hundreds of Native people from around the country gather at Coles Hill, which overlooks Plymouth Rock, for the National Day of Mourning. It is an annual tradition started in 1970 when Wampanoag Wamsuta Frank James was invited by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to give a speech at an event celebrating the 350th anniversary of the Pilgrims' arrival, and then disinvited after the event organizers discovered his speech was one of outrage over the atrocities and broken promises his people endured. On the Wampanoag welcoming and having friendly relations with the Pilgrims, James wrote in his undelivered speech, This action by Massasoit was perhaps our biggest mistake. We, the Wampanoag, welcomed you, the white man, with open arms, little knowing that it was the beginning of the end. Yeah. So that there is the account of Thanksgiving from a Wampanoag perspective. Okay. Now, what I want to do, wait, hold on, let me close that out. Now, what I want to do is share another perspective. Give me 1 second. Pull that article up. Give me 1 second. Pulling up another article. Don't go anywhere. It's got a lot of information to share. Don't go in. Let's see. That's that one. Got a few of them here. Don't go anywhere. 1, 2, 3. Okay. 1 second. One second. Okay, this is it. This is it right here. Okay. Share the screen. How y'all doing? Let's see who we got in the house. All right. AP Junior. Peace, peace. Oshio. El God. Islam, Islam. Hey there, cousin. How y'all doing? Native Voices. Turtle Island TV. Right. think that's everybody so far. It's like to show a little bit of love to everybody in the chat, and that's the information there for anyone who would like to leave a donation. Okay, so now I'm going to share the screen with another article. And this particular article is some information that I'm pretty sure maybe none of you are familiar with. Let's see, is it this one? No, let me see. This one, this one. Which article is it? Yeah, it's this one. Second. Okay. Okay. So this particular article is, like I said before, we're gonna work our way from we're gonna work our way backwards instead of going um, up into the present time. Okay, and so now we're going back a little bit further. Okay, and I have a couple more articles too. I'm going to take you backwards. Now, this is going back a little bit further than the last one that I just shared. Okay, and I'm pretty sure none of you know about this. Maybe with the exception of Firebird. Okay, but I'm pretty sure the rest of you all don't know this particular story here. Okay, so this is from Insider Magazine. It says the true story behind Thanksgiving is a bloody one. And some people say it's time to cancel the holiday. Thanks, Thanksgiving in the usually a time for family and food. American school children typically learn that the tradition dates back to the Pilgrims who helped establish Plymouth Colony in 1620 in what is now Massachusetts. As the story goes, Henry taught the struggling colonists how to survive in what the Europeans called the New World. Everyone together, then everyone got together to celebrate with a feast in Thanksgiving 2022 would mark the 401st anniversary of that first American Thanksgiving. But in reality, Thanksgiving feasts and that day was tenuous. The real story behind the holiday is so dark, in fact, that some people are rethinking how they celebrate the holiday or whether they should at all. The Plymouth Thanksgiving of 1621 wasn't the first. Settlers in Berkeley, 100 in what is now Virginia, celebrated their arrival with a Thanksgiving as far to National Geographic. But the Washingtonian reported the meal was probably little more than some oysters and ham thrown together. Decades before that, Spanish settlers and members of the Saloy tribe broke bread in Florida with salted pork, garbanzo beans, and a mass in 16 in I'm sorry, in 1565 according to the National Park Service. You hear that? 1565. How many of y'all knew that? Our modern definition of Thanksgiving revolves around eating turkey, but this was more of an occasion for religious observance in past centuries. The pilgrims would most likely consider their sober 1623 day of prayer the first actual Thanksgiving, according to the history of Massachusetts tradition of Thanksgiving, since the Massachusetts Bay Colony Governor John Winthrop declared a day to celebrate colonial settlers who had just slaughtered hundreds of Pequot men, women, and children in what is now Mystic, Connecticut. Regardless, the popular telling of the initial harvest festival is what lived on, thanks to Abraham Lincoln. The enduring holiday has also nearly erased from our collective memory what happened between the Wampanoag and the English just one generation later. The Wampanoag paramount chief allied with the English settlers after Plymouth was established and fought with the newcomers against the French and other local tribes, but they became strained over time as thousands more English colonists moved to Plymouth, taking over more land. Authorities asserted control over most aspects of Wampanoag life. According to the book Historic Contact, Indian people and colonists in today's northeastern United States. A study published in the journal Quaternary that disease had already reduced the New England indigenous population by percent by 1620. The Wampanoag continued to die from what the colonists called Indian fever, an unknown disease brought by European settlers. By the time Massasoit's son Metacomet, who was known to the English as King Philip, inherited leadership, relations had frayed. His men were executed for the murder of the Punkapog interpreter, sparking King Philip's war. Wampus responded when the England Confederation of Colonies declared war in 1675. The war was bloody and devastating. In an article Journal of Massachusetts, the Montclair State University professor Robert E. Cray Jr. said the death toll could have been up to 30% of the English population and half of the Native Americans in New England. Metacomet was beheaded and dismembered, according to It Happened in Rhode Island. And the colonists impaled his head on a spike to display for 25 years. The war just one brutal, dim remembered early conflicts between Native Americans and colonists in New England, New York, and Virginia. The holiday's dark past has some people rethinking Thanksgiving. The focus on racial justice in the United States has some people saying that reevaluating the meaning and celebration of Thanksgiving is long overdue. Teachers, professors, and Native Americans told the New York Times in 2020 that they were rethinking the holiday that has marginalized the US's violence and cruelty against Native Americans, giving it names like Takesgiving and the Thanksgiving Massacre. Reflect not new, the New York Post, United American Indians of New England have been mourning Thanksgiving for decades. Frank James, an Wampanoag activist who helped establish a national day of mourning in 1970, called the Wampanoags welcoming the English settlers perhaps our biggest mistake. Yeah, we read that already in the other article. Um, I think basically the gist of what I wanted to read from that particular article. Okay, so yeah, how many of y'all ever heard that there was a Thanksgiving before the coming? How many of y'all heard about that? The one in Florida in 1565. Nobody, right? Yeah, I did. That's what I was saying. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that. So now, let's see here. I want to share another article. Pull that up. Let's see here. Give me 1 second. Pull that one up. Oh, actually, let me see. Actually, the next article I'm gonna read, um, that one's not a link. I'm gonna read that one here. Give me 1 second. Y'all all right? So, this next article, like I say, we're working our way back, okay? Working our way backwards. Now, this next article, give me 1 second. This next article is going to go back even further. Okay. And this article is entitled The Truth Behind Thanksgiving by Hassan Black. Okay. And I'm not going to, let me see. Not going to read the whole article because I want this to be brief. I know people are with their families and things of that nature. So, I'll just give you the main parts of this article. Okay, give me 1 second. So he says here in this article, he says, for those who will read and listen, I submit truth about Thanksgiving. For those who will not, so mote it be. Contrary to the lies we were told while in the public food system, the turkey bird had nothing to do with the origin of Thanksgiving and alleged friendship with the Wampanoag Indians and the Pilgrims. They didn't tell us this in school, but the day after the original Thanksgiving, October 19th through the 21st, 1621, the Pilgrims killed 91 Wampanoag Indians who had nothing to do with the original Thanksgiving. After the arrival of the Moors, life would never be the same again in Europe. Spain became sophisticated by beautiful and stunning Moorish architecture. Beautifully designed mosques, libraries, and schools sprang up in Moorish cities. Education was offered to all citizens, including women, who were denied education in Europe during this time. Moorish Spain became the light of Europe, which was engulfed in the Dark Ages. The standard of living far exceeded that of the Europeans, who were jealous and envious of the Moors' accomplishments in Spain. The Christian Spaniards fought hard to rid Europe of their benevolent Muslim conquerors. There were eventually many bloody Muslim Christian battles. In the year 1491, the Moors surrendered the city of Granada, their last stronghold. On November 25th, 1491, the Moors signed the Act of Capitulation, after which Spain's King Ferdinand II and Queen Isabella took possession of the city. The Spanish Christians were thankful for the Moors giving Thanksgiving up Granada, ending Islamic rule in the country. This was a merry and festive day in the eyes of the Europeans and would henceforth be a day of thanks. The defeat of the Moors brought three options. One, replace their Islamic and Asiatic customs with European customs and Christianity. Two, be expelled from Spain. Or three, face execution. After the expulsion of the Moors, Cardinal Ximenes, backed by Pope Alexander VI of Europe and Queen Isabella, ordered the destruction of the beautiful and the beautiful and stunning Moorish libraries and mosques. Many Moors were driven into West Africa and were later captured and sold into America as slaves. Some of these slaves came on the slave ships of Christopher Columbus, a Spanish Jew, who was commissioned by Queen Isabella on his voyage to the New World. Many other Moors sought refuge in the country of Anatolia. These expelled Muslims or Moors from Spain would later be called Turks, as in Turkish Moors, and the country would later be renamed Turkey by Europeans. After the expulsion of the Moors, Europeans began to annually celebrate November 25th. That's where we get the November 25th celebration from. There would be great feasts all over Spain and Europe. Turkey bird, which is a crossbreed between the genetically engineered chicken and buzzard or osprey forbidden in Leviticus 11:13, was not the main meat dish served, but a fat roasted pig with an apple in its mouth, representing or symbolizing rebirth or a new beginning. Europeans also ate so much on this feast day that virtually nobody could work the next day, which explains why, in modern times, many corporate jobs give their employees the day after Thanksgiving off. Years later, Europeans would begin to take revenge on the Moors, now called Turks, because of the sexual relations the Moors held with white Christian Spaniard women. The black men or Moors were mockingly called turkeys and were called by European men because of their alleged wild and uncivilized nature. European Christians would now go on a turkey shoot or turkey hunt. The hunting of the stern Karaite Moor from Turkey, Anatolia, became an act highly regarded by Europeans at the time. In the process, in the process of the turkey shoot, Europeans would engage in the wholesale slaughter of the black-skinned Turkish Moors. Innocent Moors would be hunted down cold-blooded by European Christians. Many others would be captured, tied by their wrists and ankles with rope and roasted alive, just like you roast that turkey bird in the oven for Thanksgiving Day. Let's let that hang. Roasted alive, just like you roast that bird in the oven for Thanksgiving dinner. The Moors that were not roasted alive would be laid on the ground, and a European male would take a knife and literally carve up the Turk, which is what many people are reenacting when they carve the turkey bird on Thanksgiving. This bloodied, carved up Turk, black man, would then have his internal organs removed and then would be stuffed with certain fabric material. That sick that's the sick origin of stuffing the turkey bird with stuffing or dressing. I'm sorry to spoil the appetite of those of you who are at a dinner table right now, carving up the turkey and eating that stuffing and cranberry sauce. I apologize. However, y'all did tune in to the channel to learn about Thanksgiving. So he goes on. The Moorish the Moorish woman literally carved and out apart the way meat eaters and butchers today cut up a chicken. That's how they would cut up the Moorish women. Many a European man would say, "Give me a breast," or "I'll take a thigh," or "I want a leg," just like meat eaters do today when they are ordering fried chicken. Breasts, thighs, legs are all female sexual related and connotated body parts, as women are sized up and critiqued by the size of their breasts, thickness of their thighs, etc. Feminist meat eaters should think about the sexual politics of meat the next time they brutally bite into a piece of chicken or any animal commonly eating today, for that matter, as all eaten meats are female. After this violent and brutal act, supra European men would engage in joyous merrymaking, which would culminate with a great big feast. This is what you call Thanksgiving, and eagerly celebrate every year under the false notion that you're celebrating the friendly act of feast between Native Americans and European settlers called pilgrims. Okay? And that's you know, from the article. I have a few articles here, but that's from the article entitled "The Truth Behind Thanksgiving" by Hassan Black. Okay, I'm sorry to make you all disturbed who are eating right now. And I hate to spoil your appetite. Okay, so not going to be too much longer. Uh, I may do a part two tomorrow. Okay, but I want to end with a video. Give me 1 second here. Give me 1 second.
Lightsabers are fine.
Give me 1 second. The video is buffering. So I do not own the rights to this video. Disclaimer out there for fair use and educational purposes only under the Fair Use Act. Okay. And let me share the screen. Yeah. Okay.
Hunting down the stern, deep olive carp from Baghdad, Turkey, and slaying or enslaving him was an act highly regarded by the Christian European forces who despised these Moors, mockingly called Turkeys. And the European looked upon these Turkish Moors as being a wild and heathen people and regarded them as their natural enemies. This is an excerpt from the Thanksgiving that talks about the Moors. Thanksgiving being defeat at the Battle of Granada, not to be confused with the War of Granada. And he states that Moors were mockingly called Turkeys. In order to understand this, you have to go back to 1453 Byzantine. Yes, 1453 Byzantine. 83 was the head of Satan taken off. 1453 Byzantine. And this is referring to the defeat of the Roman Empire, the Byzantine Constantinople, or Turkey. This is the beginning of anti-Turkism. And why are we talking about anti-Turkism? Because by understanding the origin of the word, the sentiment of the time, and how it was used colloquially, we can begin to understand what the writer means when he says mockingly called Turkeys. Turns out that due to anti-Turkism, the word Turk has become a slur widely known throughout Europe. In Malta, they use the insult Eswed Turk, or as black as a Turk, obviously referring to a Moorish Turk, or a Moor from Turkey because of the dark hue. Also keep in mind, the British Empire did the A by Osman or Uthman Bey, nicknamed Kara or the Black. When we look to Romania, we see that Turk or Turkish comes to mean ignorant or stupid. In fact, it has made its way into the English language as a colloquialism meaning exactly that. The word Turk also takes on the meaning of barbarian or in various languages. The European looked upon these Turkish Moors as a wild and heathen people. This is the sentiment that is referred to in the article. So we see that the term Turk has been used as a slur to mean barbarian and heathen. In other words, Turkey. However, this is in Europe. Was this held in North America? Well, since 1453 and the historical match against the Turks, Turk as a slur and the diminution of the Turk image was widely practiced throughout Europe. However, in the 600s, about 2,500 publications regarding the Turks were spread around Europe. Between the 1400s and the 1600s alone, twice as many books were published about the Turkish threat to Europe than about the discovery of the continent of America. This according to the World Heritage Library. It stands to reason that the European settlers who held these sentiments brought the slur along with them. And in fact, this meaning of Turkey being lazy, stupid, or dull is in your general American English dictionary. I should also point out that Turkey became also synonymous with Muslims especially between the 16th and 18th century. Because to Europe, Turkey was an Islamic civilization par excellence, according to the online encyclopedia. Now, let us turn our attention to how the bird turkey got its name. When the Europeans came to America, they mistakenly took the bird they now call turkey for guinea fowl, which was native to Africa. They called it turkey because guinea fowl were imported to Europe through Turkey, thus the name turkeys. The brother Ibrahim in the article Thanksgiving for Whom clearly draws an analogy between the hunting down of the Karaite Moor and the turkey used in Thanksgiving. However, given the wide use of the slur turkey and the use of the word turkey to describe the fowl that was hunted even since Native American times, it is quite easy to see how the bird could have been analogous even in those times up until now. In fact, French writer Rabelais, 1552, in his 16th century and the main character entered. Take the word raccoon for example, hunted, and was also used as a code word from the order of the Ku Klux for hunting coons or so-called blacks. However, this is merely an analogy and is left quite open to the imagination of the reader. We should also understand that the Turkish Empire was a multinational empire which included Moors and others. Therefore, the Turkish slur or Turkey slur became general to Muslims as well. One thing we know for sure, whether or not the slur Turkey was aimed at Muslims in general. So by understanding not just the facts, but the language being used, the colloquialisms of the time, and the era itself, we can understand where Brother Ibrahim is coming from in the Thanksgiving for Whom lesson. And we thank him for his contribution to the Moorish community. Peace.
Thank you, cousin. I'm here talking away And I'm here talking away, and you know, I'm thinking y'all are hearing me. Yeah, I was saying that. Can y'all hear me now? I forgot I had muted my mic, but can you hear me now? Yeah, I was just talking away and thinking that y'all are hearing me. But yeah, I just wanted to share that particular video because it gave some more information about Thanksgiving. Okay. So, I'm not going to keep y'all too much longer. What I basically wanted to do was shed some light on the holiday, the so called holiday, and give some information that you may not have been aware of, you know, and giving the different Thanksgivings from different perspectives and from different time periods. Okay. So hopefully, y'all got a chance to take some good notes, and you could always replay the video, you know, and this way you have it, you have it on lock in your mind. Okay. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm not going to hold you up. The day is slowly passing us by, and I thank all of you who joined in today. And again, I left the information for those who are so kind to leave a donation. No donation is too small, okay, and is appreciated. And yeah, on that note, I think I'll close out, okay? So I say to all of you, Doda da, gahan e.